March 27, 2022.
El Salvador is reeling.
In just one day, 87 lives are lost to brutal gang massacres. The country is on the brink. But from this darkness emerges a decisive action that will change the course of history. In a world where the battle against street gangs often seems unwinnable, one country stands out in the night like a beacon of hope. Welcome back to In 5 Minutes, the extended edition, where today, we're diving into the heart of El Salvador's explosive war on gangs. A tale of daring, strategy, and unprecedented success that has left the world in awe. In the heart of Central America, a relentless saga unfolds. Late March 2022 marks a turning point as El Salvador launches an unparalleled offensive against its most formidable adversaries, the Mara Salvatrucha, MS13, and the two factions of Barrio 18. A ferocious security crackdown shifts into overdrive, igniting President Nayib Bukele's declared war on gangs. This campaign, the latest chapter in a decades-long battle, aims to eradicate a menace that has long evaded the grasp of Salvadoran governance. This vast urban jungles of El Salvador, a new predator emerges with fangs or claws, as long as the law will allow. President Nayib Bukele, armed with the fierce resolve of his administration, unleashes an unprecedented state of emergency. The stage is set for an extraordinary confrontation. But how did we get here? Our story traces back to a vicious cycle of migration and violence. Born in the streets of California, forged by Central American immigrants fleeing the turmoil of the 1980s, these gangs found fertile ground. As El Salvador emerged from the ashes of a brutal civil war, the 1990s brought a wave of deportations from the U.S., seeding the genesis of new criminal cells that would sow discord in Salvadoran soil. MS13, Mara Salvatrucha, was founded in the 1980s in Los Angeles by immigrants fleeing the Civil War in El Salvador. The gang initially formed for protection against other groups in the city, particularly Mexican-American gangs that dominated the area. Many of the early members of MS13 were young Salvadorans who had been exposed to violence in their home country and found themselves marginalized in the United States. They banded together to create a sense of community and to defend themselves against other gangs. The name Mara Salvatrucha combines the term Mara, which is Central American slang for gang, Salva, for Salvador, and Trucha, which means alert or cunning. Barrio 18, also known as the 18th Street Gang, has a slightly different origin story. It was formed in the 1960s, predating MS13, and not initially by Central American immigrants, but rather by Mexican-American youth in Los Angeles. Over time, as Central American immigrants, particularly those from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, settled in areas controlled by Barrio 18, the gang's demographic began to shift. By the 1980s, it had become a more ethnically diverse group, incorporating many Central American members. Barrio 18's name refers to its original territory near 18th Street in Los Angeles. Rapidly spreading, MS13 and Barrio 18 carved out territories, inaugurating an era of extortion, drug peddling, and bloodshed. The governments of the 2000s, under Presidents Francisco Flores Perez and Antonio Saca, responded with mano dura and super mano dura policies, a show of force aimed at incarcerating gang members en masse. Yet, these efforts stumbled, inadvertently fortifying gang cohesion and sophistication within the overcrowded prisons. In a desperate bid for peace, the early 2010s saw the government negotiating a ceasefire with the gangs. Initially successful, this truce abruptly collapsed, propelling El Salvador to a harrowing peak of violence. By 2015, it bore the grim title of the most violent country in the Western Hemisphere. In 2015, El Salvador's annual homicide rate stood at 103 per 100,000 inhabitants. Think about that, it is absolutely astoundingly, gripplingly gruesome. Everyone knows at least 2 people who had been killed by gangs. Yet, the tide began to turn. Under President Salvador Sanchez Cerén, a renewed offensive against the gangs, coupled with stringent controls over prison-based rackets, heralded a significant drop in homicides, having the murder rate and setting the stage for the current administration's drastic measures. This prologue sets the scene for President Bukele's historic crackdown, a culmination of years of strife, strategy, and the indomitable spirit of a nation besieged. Join us as we delve deeper into El Salvador's war on gangs, exploring how this small country's monumental struggle offers lessons for Latin America and beyond. So how did he go about dismantling these groups? President Bukele crafted a strategy based on three formidable pillars: extreme legal measures, a sweeping interpretation of gang affiliation, and an ironclad grip on political power. Together, they formed the backbone of an unprecedented offensive. This reminded me of the Bush strategy of shock and awe. Hit Sioux hard and completely overwhelm them in every way possible. The consequences were swift and severe. Convicted gang members faced significantly elongated sentences, their hopes of early release dashed against the formidable walls of newly fortified prisons. But the legal arsenal was not confined to the streets. It extended its reach into the very heart of El Salvador's political machinery. With an unwavering control over the legislature and judiciary, Bukele's administration ensured the uninterrupted flow of its draconian policies. The Legislative Assembly, now a bastion of the president's allies, rubber-stamped a barrage of reforms designed to keep gang members behind bars and out of the communities they once terrorized. With the stroke of a pen, the state of emergency transforms the urban battleground. Arrests skyrocket, as do the prison sentences. The legal scaffolding for this monumental campaign rests on a series of reforms, laws designed not just to punish, but to incapacitate. Gang membership, once a clandestine badge of honor, now carries a weight too heavy for many to bear. Yet, it's not merely the laws that shift the tide, but the hands that wield them. The second pillar of Bukele's strategy emerges, a concentration of political power that cements the foundation of this offensive. With the legislature and judiciary under the sway of the executive, Bukele's war machine marches forward, unimpeded by the checks and balances that once restrained the scope of such campaigns. In this new era, the government's word is law, and its power absolute. Legal reforms are passed with lightning speed, the judiciary reshaped to align with the administration's vision. This consolidation of power ensures that the war on gangs isn't just fought on the streets, but is embedded in the very fabric of Salvadoran governance. In a few weeks, 76,000 gang members arrested, their networks shattered, their leaders captured or on the run. This isn't the plot of a blockbuster film. It's the stark reality of El Salvador's war on gangs. The Mara Salvatrucha, the Barrio 18 Serenos, the Revolucionarios, names that once evoked fear, now find themselves cornered, their ranks decimated. The numbers spoke volumes: 52,541 from MS13, 13,682 Serenos, 10,741 Revolucionarios, and 1,232 gang leaders now behind bars. The once unyielding structures of gang dominion crumbled as the number of armed groups of gangs plummets to a mere 53. 36% remain at large, a lurking shadow amidst the triumph. But the true victory, the unseen upheaval, lies in the suffocation of the gang's financial veins, extortion, a plague that once bled the Salvadoran spirit dry. The bustling markets, the vibrant streets, once the hunting grounds for the gang's predatory demands, now breathe a sigh of liberation. With a staggering 54% drop in extortion complaints, the evidence is irrefutable. The state of emergency has not just dismantled the gangs. It has shattered their economic backbone, rendering their reign of terror impotent. The relief is palpable from the bus company owner who defied the $6,000 monthly tribute to the silent stands in San Salvador's historic center, where extortionists no longer dare to tread. The transport sector, once a lucrative target, now operates unencumbered by the specter of gang retribution. Across the globe, nations grapple with the specter of gang violence, each seeking the key to peace within their borders. Today, as we witness the dawn of a new era in El Salvador, A question echoes in the hearts of the afflicted. Could this bold strategy be the blueprint for liberation? El Salvador, once a name synonymous with gang terror, now stands as a beacon of hope. Through a relentless crackdown, legal ingenuity, and an unwavering resolve, it has begun to turn the tide against the gangs that once held it in an iron grip. From the favelas of Brazil to the streets of Honduras, from the hidden corners of the Philippines to the urban sprawls of South Africa, the shadow of gang violence looms large. Each country, caught in its own unique struggle, searches for a path to peace. Experts agree, the Salvadoran model offers valuable lessons: the importance of a comprehensive legal framework, the power of a unified political will, and the necessity of community engagement. But they caution, the path is fraught with complexities unique to each nation's fabric. Yet, amidst these challenges lies the undeniable truth: change is possible. With determination, innovation, and a focus on the root causes of gang proliferation, communities can reclaim their streets, their safety, and their future. El Salvador's journey is far from over, but its message rings clear. Even in the darkest of times, light can be found. It calls to nations, to leaders, to citizens across the globe: dare to fight, dare to hope, dare to transform your world. El Salvador's War on Gangs, a saga of courage, strategy, and sacrifice. A beacon to Latin America and the world, shining light on the possibility of peace in the face of seemingly insurmountable darkness. This has been In 5 Minutes. 4 stories of bravery, strategy, and the human spirit. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, remember, the most extraordinary tales are those forged in the fires of adversity.